let's get started. This session is going to be about teaching you some practical coaching skills that might help with your connection with your teen at this current time, or your tween. I know some of you've got younger ones than teens. And so today we're going to be learning 3 coaching skills that I think should be really helpful for you. One is the strengths-based active listening. The next will be the solutions-focused problem solving. And the third one will be fostering a growth mindset. And my aim for you to learn these skills is just so you can add some extra tools to your parenting toolbox, because you know, these are unprecedented times, and any little bit extra is going to help. Now, how do I go to the next slide? There we go. Yeah. And so during this lockdown period, there is, you know, you've got 3 choices. Do you want to dive? Do you want to survive? Or do you want to thrive? And I know where I definitely want to be, in the top half of that triangle. And it is a little bit, it is easy to get overwhelmed with so much change going on right now. And we're such social beings, aren't we, us humans? And this can all be quite disruptive, this whole social distancing and all these rules, this invisible virus that's taking over the world, and we're all sort of making sure and trying to not get infected ourselves or our family or those we love. And so it's a lot going on. And but then the other thing is that not only are we dealing with this invisible virus, but we're all of a sudden having to stay home. And so some of you are having to now do homeschooling and taking care of kids, and having to work out how you can balance work and home life, and trying not to lose your jobs. And I'm so sorry if you have, or, you know, in that position, but hopefully we'll all get through this. I'm sure we will all get through this fine, and we're here to each help support each other. And so once the dust is settled with all this COVID change, hopefully we'll be able to just enjoy this kind of simpler and slower pace of life, and make sure that we start to thrive in this transition. So I wanted to share with you, I'm sure you've seen it before, the spheres of control. So what is in your control right now? So we've got the outside of my control, and that is obviously what's happening with the COVID virus. You know, that is outside of your control, and what the governments are doing, that's outside of your control. But what is the orange box is what can you influence, and then in that little red box is what can you control. And that what you control is what's going on inside your head, and your behavior and your actions, and how you respond to this crisis. And so what you can influence and how you can respond is what we're going to be talking about today. And so this is the locus of control. And so there's the internal locus of control, where you make things happen. And there's the external locus of control, where things happen to you. And that's, you know, that can really, where you can fall into the whole victim mindset, and, oh, poor me, woe is me, I can't do anything about this. And I challenged that, and I said, well, actually you can. And so this is what we want to be focusing on today, is what you can control: your mindset, your communication, and your behavior. Because for parents, as parents, you can improve the connection that you have with your child. You can improve the communication that you have, and you can improve, hopefully, that will therefore lead to better collaboration and a better relationship that you guys have together. And so I wanted to start with a strengths-based active listening exercise, number 1. And what I wanted to do is, when we are listening to people, it's when you need to give them their full attention, obviously. So you need to be there in the present and in the moment with them, and making eye contact with them. This is listening, and all of us can improve listening, all of us. I am certainly need to improve my listening and with my husband especially, but also with my kids and everyone else. And but there's an actual activity that we're going to practice, and that's going to really help the other person know that you're listening, and it's really going to develop some rapport and trust and connection. So I'm just going to stop this slides and go back to just so you can see me. Can you see me? That's funny because on my screen all I can see is someone's chair, lounge chair.
That's fine. I had to get a pen.
Oh, there you are. Okay, so I would like a volunteer, please. I need a volunteer of someone that has got something that they're really proud of. Write it in the chat box. An achievement that you're proud of. Just write someone to say the first, put a me in the chat box, or put your hand up or something so I can see you. I need the little hand icon. I can't see anything yet. Is anyone volunteering here?
Yeah, you go, Lisa.
Okay, Lisa. So unmute yourself, Lisa, please.
Hello.
Hello, Lisa. So we're going to do, I'm going to do the activity on you, and I want everyone else to please listen to this activity and hear obviously what Lisa's talking about, but then also listen to what I then say at the end. Okay, so Lisa, please, I would love you to tell me something that you are proud of, an achievement that you are proud of.
Okay, so I recently had my mindset videos put up on an international fitness membership program place.
You had your mindset videos put up on a fitness, is that what you just said?
Yeah, so it's an international fitness membership site.
Okay, I'm just writing that down. And now I want you to tell me the process. How did you get to achieving that fantastic outcome?
About 2 years ago, I phoned them. I guess before that, I had to work out where did I want my stuff to go. So I targeted this company and I emailed them and phoned them and just stayed in touch with them over time. I ended up getting a job there as a health coach. And then when all this COVID stuff started happening, they needed what I had. So I sent it to them and they said, yep, let's go ahead and do this. So they did it.
Amazing. So 2 years that was in the process.
Yep. And it might not have happened if COVID hadn't have happened, you know.
Or it might have.
It might have, but maybe not now. Like it might have happened down the track. But yeah, so it's interesting.
Okay, so what I'm going to tell you, what I heard in what you were just saying just now, okay, is this is the strengths-based active listening. So you've just told me a story. I'm just dissecting it for everyone else to understand what I'm doing. But you've just told me a story of how you got these mindset videos up on this international, what is it, website?
Fitness site, yeah.
Website. And but that was 2 years in the making. What I heard you say is that you had absolute laser focus, and you had a very long-term goal in mind. You were extremely proactive in following that and committed to that long-term goal. You believed in yourself. You trusted yourself and what you've got to offer. And you were positive, and you absolutely achieved that. You didn't let that dream go, and you should be so proud of what you achieved for all of what I've just said. And so just to stop there, can everyone hear what I've just done? I've not used the words that, how does that feel when I say that to you, Lisa?
It feels good. It kind of takes it outside of, like, it's just another layer of actual things that have actually happened, or things that I were, but I just didn't focus on them, if you know what I mean. I was focused on the goal and the outcome, not the parts of myself, like determined and proactive and all that. So yeah, it kind of opens up to another layer of me.
Exactly. And that's what we're doing here. We're trying to open up. So if you applied this to your teenager, okay, we want to get them realizing that you are not just listening to the achievement that they've done, which is, you know, Penny, you can be using this with your boy who just got outstanding results on his exams. It's that you're listening to the strengths that they displayed in achieving that goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great. So I guess my son had a goal to become number one in his year on their learning platform, and he did it over a weekend. So I could say stuff to him about, you know, his determination, and I guess it's finding those words, you know, when you're not kind of used to using them.
Yes. Okay, so I want everyone to take a moment to think about an achievement that your kid has just done recently, whether it's a sporting achievement, a school achievement, a new friend, and whatever it is, something that that you know they're proud of and that you're proud of for them as well. And I want you to list down all the strengths that they must have to have achieved that goal. Just take a moment to do that, please.
Sorry, Jen, I just had to talk to my daughter then. What are we doing?
I'm going to unmute you as well, okay?
Yep.
I mean, I'm going to mute you. And then if you want to write them in the chat box, if you've got them ready to go, just start writing them in the chat box. So some keywords that you might have heard, might be thinking or wanting to know, that they displayed problem solving, that they were committed, that they were resourceful, that they didn't give up, that they were proactive, that they're good at managing projects, that they are good at setting goals for themselves and achieving goals, that they're hardworking. So there are so many, and you can, you know, Google synonyms for all of these as well. But this is strengths-based active listening, listening for the strengths that they displayed and then highlighting them for them so that they feel really proud that their parent knows and is acknowledging them for what they do, and highlighting those strengths will make them feel more confident about their own abilities and will help them with their growth mindset, which we'll be talking about in a second. Does anyone want to unmute themselves and say anything about that? No? You're a quiet bunch, aren't you? Alrighty. Okay, now I want someone to practice on me, please. So I need another volunteer. Unmute yourself. Go on. Speak up.
Okay, I'll do one.
Oh, hello. Hi, Sally. All right, so please, I want you to practice on me now. So asking me about an achievement or something.
Okay. So what have you achieved in your life that you've been really proud of?
Well, one example that I would love to share is when I went to hike to Everest Base Camp.
Wow.
And that was a massive achievement, and I didn't realize it at the time. So have you got a pen and paper, because you've got to start listening to what I'm going to talk about? Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And so I didn't realize when I signed up originally that I was going to have to train so hard for that that experience, because the altitude and the distance was just phenomenal. So I had to, every second day, go and in Perth, I was living in Perth, I had to go and run up and down these steps that were there, because I really did not want to be the person that, you know, had to go home on the donkey. I really wanted to be fit enough to be able to do that. And then when we got there and we actually started the trek and the hike, it was extremely hard work. But the one thing that I was really proud of is that I didn't give up at the end, because there was a part where I just wanted to give up. The rain, there was snow, there was wind, and all these bits and things coming in my face, and I just wanted to cry and just run back home, kind of thing. I just hated, you know, it was very painful and hard, but I never gave up. And yeah, so I was very proud of that experience.
Fantastic. I know the exact steps you're talking about in Perth, by the way.
Oh, King's
Kings Park. Yeah. Okay. So what would come out of that would be, I'd be saying you're incredibly focused. You still are, but focused at the time for doing this. Amazing commitment, dedication, determination. You're prepared to put in the hard work, resourceful in just thinking, I've got to keep going with this. Incredible endurance, absolutely goal focused. You're determined to get to the end of this trek. You were not going to be the last man on the last man down, as it were, and you were going to do it at all costs. You had full on determination and focus to get through. Achieve your goal and achieve your dream. And like, wow.
Natural, Sally. You are natural at this. That's exactly right. Okay, you just nailed that. It makes me like feel, it just boosts me up. Like, I'm already proud of what I did, but then to hear you say all these things that I didn't even just say to you, you said that, you know, that was coming from you and your own experience and your sort of awe of what I've done. That makes me feel absolutely like, wow, thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for hearing me. And thank you for appreciating what I did. Yes. Okay. And that immediately makes me feel a stronger bond with you. That kind of, you know, we don't just do this with our kids. We could do this with anyone. It's a really beautiful skill to use with everyone, actually. Active, strengths-based listening. Okay, guys, any questions about that activity, or anyone that didn't understand it or wants a practice or anything like that? Okay, so that is one of the activities that I actually run in the Skills for Success program that I do in the peer coaching and leadership workshop. So that's something that we do teach the kids to do with each other as well. Okay, I'm going to go back to my slides and share with you the next one. Hey, can you see my slides? Nod. Okay, so the next one is solutions focused problem solving. Okay, so we are going to do another activity. So I need another volunteer. I should have warned you guys that this is a very active workshop today. Who would like to be my next volunteer? Come on up. Maybe a man this time. Maybe you, Mark. Come on.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, forgive me, I was multitasking, but that's okay, I'm still listening.
No, you're not allowed. Focused. No, do what you have to do. Can you join in, or do you want me to go to someone else?
Happy. Yep.
Okay.
I'm back. See.
So we're going to do what's called solutions-focused problem solving. And so what I want you to do, please, is to tell me one problem that you are currently dealing with your teen at the moment.
Righto. Scalability is the big thing at the moment. So we've reworked my entire business, which was a co-working hub and a cafe, both of which are no longer COVID friendly, into a catering company for the NDIS. So we're sending food packs out to lots of people who don't want to go to supermarkets. We're about to open that up to the public so that you'll be able to pick up 10 packs of meals with groceries from us. And I'm just organising a McLaren mixed dozen to go with it. So you'll get a lucky dip dozen. We need to be in a situation where at the moment I'm putting 100 meals out and I need to push that to 1,000, and I've got to work out how to coordinate it.
Okay, that's a problem you're currently dealing with, but I want you to tell me a problem you're dealing with your teen right now.
Oh, forgive me. I thought you were talking about, yeah, okay. Sorry.
That does sound like a pretty intense problem, and maybe I can coach you with that afterwards.
So therefore, in terms of my kids, it is doing all of that while homeschooling them and keeping them feeling like I'm not crumbling, trying to give them the positive calm that they need while I'm also spinning 17 other plates.
And how long has this been happening?
Well, I've had them out of school for 2 weeks now. They're only with me half time. So Saturday through Wednesdays. But the 2 weeks I've held together really well. They wouldn't necessarily understand that my entire business has disappeared and I've had to rebuild it. And we're loving the homeschooling. I'm really enjoying it. But the dial gets turned up to 11 sometimes while I'm trying to get everything in the right place.
When you say dialogue, what do you mean by that?
As in my dial in terms of going up to full stress is breaking out above 10 into 11.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And well, I was going to ask how serious it is, this problem. So
well, look, it's a matter of my mental health as much as anything. They're fine. It's a matter of sort of them understanding I've only got so much I can provide them. I've started to palm off a bit to my folks on Zoom, so they're now running a class for an hour a day with them, which gives me a little bit of relief. And we break up our day with time on scooters out the front and cricket games and things like that as well. But it's, you know, sometimes even the fun stuff is an effort.
of course, because you've got so much other things to have to manage and deal with at the moment.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel, Mark?
And I'm incredibly aware of my tone of voice when I'm with the kids, but it gets very, very difficult to maintain a calm tone of voice as my insides start to shred. I always use the idea of having a puppy inside your chest scratching on the outer wall of your chest cavity, like it's scratching on a door to get out.
The feeling of what?
Of anxiety that's building.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is that causing? What problem is that causing for you?
As much as anything, it's just trying to manage myself and my mood with my kids when I'm under that sort of pressure. So, you know, I need to step out and have moments of calm and you know, sometimes collapse on the grass or on my bed. And I don't want them to see me weak like that.
It's not weak.
No, but I need to be the rock.
You certainly are the rock, and you're only human. And thank you so much for sharing with all of us, because that's very, you know, this is life, and this is what's happening with you right now, and this is real. And thank you for sharing it in this group setting, because yeah, we can all learn from some of what I'm going to do in the moment. Because what I'm not sure, are you able to see me, by the way, or are you just looking at a screen right now?
I've got your screen, solutions focused problem solving.
Okay, so you can't actually see me, so I'm sorry.
Here you are. I've got you now. No, I've got both.
Okay, so what we just did, everyone, was I was just focusing on the problem. So I wasn't focusing on the solution. And that's the activity that we're going to do now. So we were just focusing on the problem. I was asking him about the problem, how, what's he doing about the problem. Right now, what I want to do is start focusing on the solution and helping you to hopefully move forward on this, which is for you very important for you to be moving on. And there's a few problems that you actually outlined there. So I'm not sure which of those you want to focus on, but it's up to you. Okay, this is your solution that we want to focus on right now. So what would it look like if it was solved?
It would effectively be better systemized. I've been in a situation where I could set the kids into motion with work and then be able to step back and let them do it, which carves out space for me. I think also anyone else who's homeschooling in the room, we need to get the fact that 2 to 3 hours worth of desk time is about as all you could ever ask for from any kid in a homeschool environment. So again, there's expectation where we need to sometimes stop, and when it's not working, get out in the sunshine. But I need it, from my perspective, systemization, we set a calendar every morning, 9 o'clock through 5 o'clock. It includes solid hours of screen time. It includes solid hours of beat time. But it does then allow us to have 2 till 3 o'clock committed to maths, or 10 till 11 o'clock committed to whatever. What I need to be able to do is set them to that and then step away. And I don't want to step away. I think if any of us also look at what we're going through, we have this wonderful opportunity to be with our kids, to sit with our kids while they're learning. When was the last time I sat with my boy and did any maths?
Exactly.
Brilliant. Knocked me on my ass how advanced he is. I don't want to miss out on that. But I also need to build us a livelihood.
Exactly right. But I think that they're lucky to have a dad that really does care about them and is acknowledging those beautiful things that you are starting to see with them and spending that time with them. So they're very lucky to have you. And we need to make sure that your mental health is definitely under control too, so that you can continue that, because this is, I think the change just happened. Like, it's only been 2 or 3 weeks since this all happened. So you're right now, you're going to sort it out, because you always do, Mark. I don't know you very well, but from what I know of you is that you are very good at sorting things out eventually. So you're a problem solver. That's one of your best strengths. But anyway, that's a side note. We can talk about that stuff afterwards. But I wanted to just get back to the positive questions, that there's the solution focused. So what would be happening if this was solved?
We would all be dancing through an extraordinary opportunity. We'd be looking at the COVID period with a lovely memory of how great it was that we could all spend the time we had together and still achieve what we wanted to achieve.
And what would not be happening?
I wouldn't be fighting the interior puppy.
And how would you feel if this was solved?
Look, I've got a great sense of pride in already of what I've pulled off, and my kids are great. We're all in a great spot. So if it's running well, it's a great thing. And why haven't we been homeschooling forever? Why on earth would you send your kids away?
Yeah, exactly. The whole systems, we can start to look at that, can't we? And start to dissect that and question it and create the better version. How close to solving this problem out of 10 are you?
I'm probably day by day. Sometimes I'm 4, sometimes I'm 7. Across the board, we've had some really good days where we've really surprised ourselves with how much we've got done, and also how much broader experience we've had. It's practice. If you know your Brené Brown's, it's the FFT scenario, the fucking first times. We're working through our first time. This is all new. I'd like to think that I think one of the killers of this scenario at the moment also is the uncertainty of how long it would last.
Yeah.
If they said 10-week lockdown, that'd be great, because then we can just work within the 10 weeks. And we know by week 4, by week 5, we've systemised and moved forward. This all may be over in 2 weeks. Now that's absolute crap. But is it 16 weeks?
Yeah.
So no, I think within the next 2 weeks I'll start really getting things into a decent system.
Okay, so what if we're looking at solving the problem. What have you done before that would have worked, would work?
Well, look, proactively getting the day plan, the hourly plan up was really, really good. Being flexible on that once it's up, you know, we don't get in trouble if we're not sitting at the desk at the right time. My daughter, who's 11 particularly, will get frustrated by something and I can send her out for a 5-minute scooter and she'll come back and we'll have another go. So flexibility is really important, but I think the structure, a flexible structure is important. Having that 9 o'clock meeting over breakfast and working out what the day is going to hold is really important.
And have there been times when this hasn't occurred?
Yeah, the last day, the Wednesday, I had so much going on in terms of essentially building a brand new concept business. I just couldn't give them what they needed, and I felt a failure because they were happy on their flat screens, they were happy doing their thing, but you know, I want to them to see structure, and I failed to give it to them that day.
And so what are you doing that does not work that you can stop?
I think the lesson of forcing, once we've got our focus for the day and our timeline, there's no point trying to force that to happen. And if it comes off the rails, it comes off the rails. That's really important. The business demands as it does. You know, I'm acting quickly. I'm liaising with a lot of people. The phone rings, and sometimes I've got to answer it.
And what skills and strengths do you need to use?
Patience is, I think, the key.
And how about for that inner dog, inner puppy?
Yeah, well, I think there's self-care. I mean, they left on Wednesday and I went down. You know, Wednesday night, I looked up, it was 7 o'clock. I couldn't remember eating breakfast, let alone lunch. I forced some food into myself and collapsed. And yesterday I was just a dog. The day was written off. It was lucky there's a bit of surf out there. I got to surf in, and that's all I can really remember from the day. Today I've woken up really, really proactively positive, and I'm getting access to all the things I missed out on. And yeah, I feel really good about moving forward again. But you got to have the days. You got to understand that there's going to be days where the wheels come off.
And at least the kids were being well taken care of, and you could have that time to recover, kind of thing.
Absolutely, and I mean, thank goodness for single parenting. I would suggest to all of you to divorce your partners right now and get another house so you can have a few days off each. You come out the other side.
It's not such a bad idea. No, I'm kidding. So who can help you with this, Mark?
I've got good support. I've got a very strong men's group, and I've made a mother's group. As you can tell from the conversation, I play the mother role with my kids as much as I do the father. And I've got 8 mums who I've connected with in a messenger group, and we chat regularly about this sort of thing.
It's fantastic.
And yeah, we boost each other up when we need to.
And what steps can you start doing right now?
Well, I think with the kids not here, resting is key. I want to be excited when they come back. I don't want it to be a burden. Also getting done as much of the work stuff as I can, so I'm freer for when they do come back. Consensual lesson planning, getting my parents hooked up to Zoom so they can do Zoom lessons. What I really want to do is get the other mums each to run an hour every second day for all the kids.
See, this is what I know about you. You are such a problem solver. So you're going to come up with the best systems. Like, I reckon all the mums and parents are going to need to hook into you and know what you're doing to solve this problem, because you are such a well-networked person.
Well, I mean, it's again, if you can get a couple of people involved, it just takes the pressure off. I don't do anything I do out of altruism. I do it out of self-care.
You do a bit of...
Yeah, I think it's a matter of getting into a situation where we can all share the burden.
Okay, now I'm just going to stop there, and I just wanted to ask you, how did that feel the second time round?
The second time round?
So the first time I asked you about the problem, and then the second time I asked about...
I think, I mean, it was a great part of the greater conversation that did evolve, you're right. I think it is important in the first case to be heard and not to have it fixed. But to then start structuring off and getting some perspective on systemizing it, of course, gives you a stronger position to work from.
Because that's the point. I'm just going to thank you so much, Mark. I'm just going to mute you again, and just speak to everybody here. Can you actually do that? Sorry.
I can mute me.
There you go. No, I want to see you still. But this, and anyone else, if you want to write some comments in the chat box there, it's just, I'm not sure if you noticed, but we can all go on and on about problems. Like the problem exists, it definitely exists. So, but you know, the more we talk about the problem's not going away. We can dissect the problem, we can think about the problem, but it doesn't go anywhere. We can stay in that loop. However, when we start thinking about the solutions, it's how to get us moving forward. I could already see Mark being more positive, using other parts of his brain and accessing other parts where he has been resourceful before, and it gets him moving forward with action steps on what he can be doing to actually get himself out of this problem state. Does anyone agree? Does everyone agree to that? Mm-hmm. And this is something that, as a coach in my training, this is something that was a groundbreaker for me. When I learned how to listen to people and ask them questions about whatever issue they were dealing with, but putting the responsibility back on them, that I found so powerful. I didn't have to be the one solving the problem anymore. It takes all this sort of pressure off. I'm not the one that has to solve their problem. I'm just there to act like a mirror and sort of bounce ideas off and help them solve the problem themselves, so that they feel like they've got ownership of that problem and that solution. So that miracle question that I asked at the very beginning was, what would it look like if it was solved? That is a beautiful question that gets people going, oh, well, you know, they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's a really good one to remember, the miracle question, which is, what would it look like if I wasn't a genie in a bottle and just went ding, which is my command, the solution is there. Or looking for exceptions to the rule. So getting them to think of other times that they did solve that problem themselves, or other people they know that might have solved a similar problem. So getting them to see exceptions. Okay, guys, so we've got to move along because time is flying. So the third one that I'm going to talk about today, and I'm going to go back to sharing the screen. Where is that? Here, share screen, there. Okay, so fostering a growth mindset. And for those of you that don't know, this is Thierry Henry, and he's a famous soccer football player who played for Arsenal. And on his Twitter handle that you can see there on the screen, it says, "Amateurs call it genius, masters call it practice." And so what this is referring to is that apparently this footballer, when he first moved to Arsenal, he was very short on his own confidence and low on goals. And so he said, and he's famous for saying, that he literally had to go back to school and learn how to be retaught in the art of striking. And now this kind of a quote is helps young people to realize that they will just see the end product of successful people, whether it's sportsmen, musicians, famous, you know, actors or whatever, and they just go, oh, they're born with it. They're just naturally gifted. I'll never be like that. But what this particular example, and there's plenty more, is all telling us is actually it's practice. That practice is what makes us perfect or learn success. And so that's the growth mindset that I'm going to start talking about right now. And where did this whole, term growth mindset come from? It's from Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck, and she wrote a book, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. And she explains in her research that one of the most basic beliefs that we carry about ourselves has to do with how we view and inhabit what we consider to be our personality. A fixed mindset, she says, assumes that our character, intelligence, and creative ability are static givens which we can't change in any meaningful way, and that success is an affirmation of that inherent intelligence and an assessment of those givens, and it's striving for success and avoiding failure at all costs become a way of maintaining that. Whereas a growth mindset, on the other hand, thrives on challenge and sees failure not as evidence of unintelligence, but as a heartening springboard for growth and for stretching our existing abilities. And this is what we want in our young people. Why? Because we want them to know that excellence comes from practice. And that it can manifest from a very young age. So we have got the, and this is what I'm sure what a lot of teachers have to do too, is trying to encourage young people to know that they have the ability to change and improve and get better and become the best at whatever they want to become the best at. And so I want you all now to take a moment to think about something you have mastered yourself. Something that over time, with all the amount of hours and time that you've put into it, that you have now become an expert at, whether it's cooking or music, maybe you can play a musical instrument, or maybe you can speak a second, third language, or something that certainly has taken a lot of your own effort to master. Can you all just take a moment, please, to think about that? And then what I want you to do is to write down what made that success. So what was it that was the repeated action? Was it the constantly asking others for help? Was it for researching solutions on the computer or Google? Was it, I don't know what it was, whatever your example is. And then can you please write it in the chat box so I can see? So write down the thing that you've mastered or are an expert at. I look forward to one day saying that I'm an expert on Zoom. Not yet. Need more practice. Can everyone write that in chat, because I can't see anything yet? Okay, does anyone want to unmute themselves and say it, please?
Constant practice on the piano.
Oh, who's that? Sally?
Sally, yep.
Is it? Fantastic. You're going to have to come show me. So tell me about that, please.
I'm not particularly good, but I was wanting to sort of do something for myself, and I know that playing a musical instrument is a good thing to get the brain neural pathways a bit more connected and to be motivated with doing tasks generally, like boring housework tasks or whatever it might be. So I hadn't played the piano since I was at school as a very young child. So I just picked up the kids' learner's book and taught myself again, and I'm just playing a few little tunes. They're nothing, nothing special, but it makes me feel good doing it, and I sing along when I do it, and that's found quite hard to sing and play at the same time, because I haven't I don't think we've really done it before. And I really enjoy it. It's fun.
Congratulations, that's fantastic. And are your kids learning it as well?
They have been. They've stopped for the minute, but I'm hoping they'll restart again.
Oh, yeah. One thing that, we've got a piano and I need to learn how to play, so I'm going to have to get some tips from you how to start that. All right, so the next thing I want you to do is to think of a hero or a role model or someone that you know your young person really looks up to and aspires to be. whether it's a sporting hero or a musician or an actor or whatever it is that, you know, that person that they think is just amazing, the bee's knees. And I want you to do a bit of homework, and, or even better yet, get the team to do the homework and get them to think about what made them a success. Because there are so many stories out there, and you know, if you've watched Taylor Swift's documentary, or what's his name, the young singer, the boy, I've forgotten his name. Who?
Justin Bieber.
Yes, Justin Bieber. That's exactly what I was thinking of. You know, or these kind of sportsmen, or any kind of role model that you know your kid loves to look up to, and get them to work out, where did that talent begin? Like, yes, they might have had a bit of talent for sport or music or whatever, but then show the amount of commitment and dedication they then displayed in order to become the success that they are. Because that's where young people need to realize that there is a journey involved, that they don't just become successful overnight. None of us do. It's a journey. And what we want to do is we want to water that little garden of potential within them, and, you know, plant those seeds of you too can be like that if you want to, and get them to start thinking how they can cultivate that within themselves. Has anyone got any comments you want to say on that?
My son decided he wanted to learn some tricks on his skateboard, so he spent quite a bit of time in our garage at night time, jumping and twirling around and doing whatever, and he can do quite a few tricks now, and he just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. Thankfully, he hasn't fallen over and got more stitches as he had in the past, but he can do quite a few things, jumping on curbs and footpaths and doing all sorts of things. So that was him just doing that by himself, looking on YouTube videos, working out how to do it, and really enjoys it, and he's got quite good.
Well, that's brilliant. That's exactly, you know, and that's how we all learn and become better at things. And does he have a natural growth mindset, do you think, or has he got a bit of a fixed mindset at the moment?
Bit of a fixed one, I think, especially with schoolwork. Yeah.
Well, then you can use that analogy of his skateboarding to teach, to show him an example of himself proving that wrong, kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, and I've got a really great link that I'm going to share with you after this workshop of 25 ways to develop a growth mindset that I just found online, and I think is just brilliant for all of us, actually, to help improve whatever we want to get better at in life. I'm just going to mute you again, Sally. Okay, guys, so they're the three tools that I've taught you today. You might know them already, or they might be just sort of adding to what you already do know. So I want you to just take a moment to reflect on those three skills and think, okay, so what did I just learn? Why is that important? And what am I going to do about it? So just take a moment to write those down. And if you want to write them in the chat box, please do. Does anyone want to share with us what they've written down? Feel free to unmute yourself.
I stuck mine in the comments, but I'll talk. Okay. So I guess really straight off the bat, you know, bolstering my team's success with those strength building words.
Yes.
To instill that sense of pride that they've done a great job.
Yes, definitely.
I just want to go to him straight away and just have that chat right now. Like, I'm excited about that. That's, you know, it's a great tool. And then, you know, I can just see myself using those solution-focused problems when my two are at each other. You know, just to ask some of those questions, put them in there and just see what happens. That's exciting.
Exactly right. Good for you. I'm so glad that you got some value there. Okay, we're just going to start to wrap things up in a moment. So let me just go forward. So not sure, some of you would not even really know what a coach is and be wondering what is the difference between a coach and counselling, for example. And the main difference is coaching is future focused, whereas counselling is focusing on the past. And that's where I really enjoy, what I love about coaching is okay, so yes, we've all got issues and things we want to work on. Let's do some problem solving and let's move forward on those and create goals and set action plans to move forward and achieve our goals. And so this is all stuff that I am going to be teaching the young people in the upcoming Skills for Success program that I'm running in 2 weeks' time. Starts in 2 weeks, very exciting. And there's 3 modules that I'll be running for that, and I do recommend all 3 of them, but if you're wondering which is better or which I do recommend, there's the I would start with number 1, the life and career coaching, which is 2 1-hour workshops. No, that's actually meant to be 4 1-hour workshops, sorry. No, yeah, I think it's 4. Oh my gosh, I've forgotten. I'll double check all that. Anyway, it's life and career coaching workshop, and that's where they are going to be looking at what areas of their life they want to improve, and we look at their characters and what their character strengths are, and they do a real sort of self-evaluation on their life and look at what they want to, what kind of careers they're suited towards, and creating an action plan, which is really awesome. And then the My School Success is looking at their school subjects, what they want to, what they need to improve, like maybe it's maths or English or something, and looking at how, looking at tools and skills of how to improve their study, and creating an action plan for that. And then the final one, which is the one that I've used 2 of the examples today from, that we actually do in the peer coaching and leadership workshop. And that's helping young people to act as peer coaches to each other, and becoming a leader in their own right, whether they're looking to become a school prefect or a Scouts group leader or something like that. So they're all amazing, valuable workshops for these young people. And the best thing is that they are going to be run between 1:30 and 2:30 p.m. During the school holidays, which I know the school holidays now don't really exist, but it's while they're all going to be at home anyway. But it will be run between 1:30 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. Monday to Friday, and there is 7 hours worth of modules there. And as being part of this today's workshop, I'm giving everyone 20% off. So that's a little promo that I'm able to offer you. So I will be sending you all an email after this that you can find out more information. Has anyone got any questions about what we've done today, or any other questions about anything? Unmute yourself if you do, or write it in the...
How do you enlist, you know how you're talking about people they look up to? What if your children don't have that desire because they don't see the other people or the influence that they need, because they themselves have got their own way of seeing things?
So I'm just checking I understand. So you said
they don't have an idol, or they don't look up to an idol, because I mean, I think we've had a lot of situations of recent years where the idols that the kids had have turned out to end up being bad behaviours and other things that they've been caught up into. So some of the kids out there now aren't looking at the idols the way we probably would have looked to them when we were younger.
Well, then I would, it can be a family member, it can be close, it doesn't have to be someone famous, it can be someone within their community group, someone that they think is displaying desirable qualities that they would like to have themselves.
Thank you.
Doesn't have to be a whole, like the person's perfect, it's just they might have particular a skill or an ability or qualities or values or something that they really do respect and that they want to imitate and learn themselves. Any other questions, guys? Okay, so that's almost time. We're all 2 minutes over, my goodness. So I really want to thank you all so much for coming today. It's been really a wonderful experience for me to be practicing what I preach, kind of thing, and doing some live coaching. I really miss coaching, and I need to get back into it again. And it doesn't matter that it's virtual. It's wonderful that so many people can be part of it. And I'll be sending you all that email that will have the video of today's link if you want to re-watch that. And I'm also in the process of developing a PDF of 30 tips to deepen the connection with your team. So look out for that. And I'll also be inviting you, if you're not already inside of it, the Adelaide Parents of Teen support group, just as a great place for us all to be sharing different tips on how to support each other. And if you want to stick around, I'll hang around for a few more minutes after the workshop. And if you need to go, thank you, goodbye, and yeah, reach out if I can help you with anything.
Thanks, Genevieve.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. It was very worthwhile. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Yay. Thanks, Sally.
Thanks, Jen. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.